We love.
Okay.
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. Ah, um, Shalom Yasharala. Um, Listen, this is oh man, this is just I'm psyched. I'm psyched. I'm so looking forward to this Pesach, man. Um, Hello out there in TV land. All right, I always wanted to say that only because I'm a big Honeymooners fan. I always want to say that, but whatever. Um, but yeah, this is a wonderful thing, man. I want to say Shabbat, Shalom, and Shah Shabbat to all our people out there, all our brothers and sisters out there, whatever camp you're from. If you're not from a camp, who gives a damn? As long as you understand that we are the nation of Israel, and that the Most High is our power, and the Mashiach is our redeemer. Now, if we can always work out the little parts that's not understood, we can work that out later. As long as we get out of here as a nation, man, we can work out the other stuff, man. Um,
That's right.
so we roll with anybody, man. We roll with anybody as long as you understand who you are, who the Most High is, who the Mashiach is. Even if you disagree with certain things, man, we still gonna roll with you as long as you got love for the brotherhood and the sisterhood and the nation. We're gonna always um, extend, and we have done that. I mean, that's one thing we're known for. Ambassadors of Christ are known for that. Alpha and Omega clan is always known for reaching out and bridging the gap, if you will, on certain things. Um, so we're not going to be too long winded on this because we kind of got a late start. We usually have our weekly conference call um, on this day, so we kind of went a little bit longer than we wanted to go. We actually had to excuse ourselves so that we can do this class, but that's self commitment. Okay, all right. I'm a little dramatic, man. I ain't gonna win no Oscar. Um, so I want to welcome everybody in. I want to welcome those who are listening to us and watching us YouTube, however you are. If you are listening or watching us on YouTube, you can uh, hit the comment, do a comment, hit like, subscribe. I guess that's what they say. These things. I'm kind of dating myself right now because we didn't have all that when I was coming up. You know what I mean? But uh, when the scriptures talk about this gospel being preached throughout the world, maybe it took into account the internet because man, you can reach the world is so much smaller now because of the internet. I can actually go on Google Maps and see what a dude in China is doing. Uh, that's a blessing and a curse at the same time. But hey, man, the Most High controls all, man. You know what I mean? He rules it all. And I always say personally, I always say two things. The Most High either allows it or he causes it. So nothing, nobody, or no entity, or no person, or no whoever got no control over nothing. So if things are working a certain way from you for you, then you got to check out what's going on in your life. You got to check out what you need to change. You got to check out how much further you need to go with the Most High, where your relationship is, because he don't allow. He don't. There's nothing that happens that he don't know, or he don't allow, or he don't cause. We know the scripture about where it talks about, he says, "Hey, I create evil." So we got to look at that. All right. You want to say something, Sarge?
No,
I'm,
Salah. That was
I'm
my lad. He came in the room real quick. My bun.
con. Hey, listen, they need to be taught too. So all right, let them stay in the room with you. They need to be taught Matter of fact, they the future. You and I are old. You look especially old. So they you know they the future. You know what I mean? Um, there are a lot of things going on. A lot of our people are getting crazy. A lot of our people are getting uh, they're worrying. They're getting scared. But the most important thing that's happening right now, and I gotta say, all praise to the Most High, is that there are a lot of our people that's waking up. They might not wake up to the whole thing, but they're questioning. They're saying, "Hey, wait a minute, man. Yeah, we think y'all is lying. There's certain things that don't make sense to us no more." And they're saying, "Hey, we believe that there's something else that's going on." And that's a beautiful thing. The pride is coming back. The understanding is coming back. And when I say pride, I don't mean the pride as far as where the ultimate, I mean the pride as far as who our father is, who our creator is, why we're here, how he made us, as far as who our father is, who our creator. So these are the things that we're looking at. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, because the Passover is coming up, man. Um, and as you know, as you all know, or at least you should know, the Passover, or as we call it in the Lashawan Kodash, or the Holy Tongue, the Pesach, is fastly approaching. So, um, and I for one, man, I'm excited, man. I'm excited for it. I'm ecstatic for it. Not only because it marks the Exodus, or it marked the Exodus from bondage under the ancient Egyptians, but in a way it was, and it is now in this time, a foreshadowing of our people's second Exodus, out from under the hand of our enemies in this land. So, Baba Kushar, Sergeant Tazayar, can you give me Exodus 3, chapter 3, verse 7?
This is book of Exodus, chapter 3, verse 7. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people, which are in Egypt, and I have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows.
Stop. So we see here that obviously the Most High is having a conversation with somebody, but the sentiment or the words that he speaks is what I really wanted to get into, because he is saying, hey, look, and this is not even, it's like a foreshadowing, because the scriptures say that, well, we all know that history repeats itself for certain things. The scripture says there's nothing new under the sun. So we understand that, hey, look, what was happening then is happening now. But this is laying the foundation for what we're seeing today. So we shouldn't be crazy or go crazy when we see the things that are happening right now. So he said, hey, look, man, I see that y'all in bondage. I see the affliction. I see the things that are going on. I hear them. And this was, crazily enough, this was after we disrespected and disobeyed him, and he sent us there. But in his mercy, in his compassion, in his righteousness, for his name's sake, you know one certain prayer that has those words in it, for his name's sake, because he is the power and there is none else. And he tells you that in the scriptures. We're going to go through that in a minute. So he's telling us, hey, look, man, I've heard them. He's telling a person, I hear them. I hear the situation. I know what's going on. Read on.
Verse 8. And I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land unto a good land, and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt.
You see that? So now stop. So now you see that? So there's a couple of things happening here. Um, One, the Mosai is talking to Moses, or as we call it in Lashawan Kodash, which is the holy tongue, Mashal. Okay. Now, weirdly enough, or coincidentally enough, that wasn't even a Hebrew name. It was an Egyptian name, meaning drawn from the water, because that's what happened. We're going to get into that because that links up with the plagues and punishment, especially the last one, which denotes the Passover. So we're going to get into that. But remember that. Remember the name of Marshall or Moses. So we get an understanding that the Most High is talking to Moses, and he's telling Moses, hey, look, man, I know what's going on with my people. And I mean, he already knew because they disobeyed him, and he had put them in that situation. Because of the reason that they disobeyed him, I can go into that. Them wanting to be ruled by, yeah, well, that's just another story. And we're actually gonna do a class on that. But suffice it to say, they got put into that punishment because they disobeyed the Most High, and so he allowed the Egyptians to put our people into slavery. Now, all these places that he mentioned, the Canaanites and the Hittites, and these are all so-called African tribes. So when they start talking about when they go into the history and they start talking about all this old, listen, we're not the same. They're not like us. That might sound racist, but it's not, or biased, but it's not. There are 18 nations that make up this planet, make up the world. We are not the same like them. Listen, to put into context, black birds, and let's look at just color-wise. Black birds, black cats, black dogs, black, if there's such a thing, black pigs, black cows.
Yo, black pig.
They have something in common. They're all black in color, but they're not the same species. So likewise, or conversely, we are not the same people. We might look the same, but there are certain differences that we can see within ourselves that shows us that we're not the same. So this land that he was talking about, and these people that he was talking about, they weren't our people. These were the people that he was going to get rid of, not because, well, I don't know if they were inferior to us. I will say this, because they worshipped other gods and they had blood sacrifices and all these other things of that nature, and the Most High is not with that. So he was going to move them out. So that's how that went down. Continue. Verse 9.
Verse 11.
Oh, you went to verse 9 already? You did verse 9, right? Read verse 9 again.
Come on, one. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. And
Okay,
Moses,
it's a lot. So he was sending Moses to bring our people out of that. So to recap, our people are in Egypt. They're under bondage, they're under slavery, and their cries went up to heaven, and the Most High heard them because He had put them in there because of their disobedience. So now He's saying, "Okay, look, there is a time limit now. I hear y'all. I hear y'all. So I'm about to do what I do." And so He picked Moses. Now it's coincidental that, well, it's not coincidental, but I'll show you the connection of why He picked Moses, and that would show you why the Egyptians even chose the name Moses. So let's go to well, you know what? Before that, let's get Jeremiah. Give me Jeremiah chapter 31, and let's start at verse 8. Because I do want to say, where is it? Jeremiah. Yeah, let's get Jeremiah, verse 8.
it's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 8. Behold, I will bring them forth. Salah. Behold, I will bring them from the north country and gather them from the coast of the earth, and with them the blind and the lame, the woman with child, and her that travaileth with child together. A great company shall return thither.
Okay, now jump 9 and give me 10.
Verse 10. Hear the word of the Lord, O ye nations, and declare it in the isles afar off, and say, He that scattered Israel shall gather them and keep him as a shepherd doeth his flock.
You see that? So just to give you a little context, um, even today in this captivity that we're under, ain't nobody put us in this captivity. Could nobody put us in this captivity? Can't nobody put us in no captivity. Why? Because we're the chosen of the Most High. This shows you that we were put in that captivity because the Most High put us there because we disobeyed Him. So He allowed. Remember what I said earlier? Remember what I said? He causes it or He allows it. So the Most High allowed that to happen. Can't nobody put us in no goddamn captivity. You beneath us. That's like a house cat putting a lion under captivity. Not gonna happen. It ain't gonna work out too well. So this was the thing that the Most High did because of what we did and turned our backs on Him. Okay, so these things, when you look at this verse in Jeremiah, it talks about He's going to bring us from the north country. So now we gotta put a little context in this, and I'm not going to go deep into it. When you look at the scripture in Jeremiah, it's almost like a foreshadowing of our Exodus. So to give this particular scripture, to give it some context, if you look at a map of if you look at a map, Assyria and Babylon, and those were the countries that conquered our people. If you look at that, they conquered us during the time of Jeremiah, which was, the time around, I believe it's 722 or 723 BC, something like that. I can't remember. When you look at that map, the two nations that conquered us during Jeremiah's time, those countries are east of Israel. Look at that map. So Israel will be here, and those countries would be east of Israel. And it was separated by if you look at the map, they were separated by a desert, Syrian desert. If you're interested, and you want to go look it up. I mean, it's not a big deal, but the Syrian desert. So, you know, it made it impossible because we were taken over and conquered by those two nations. I forget which one was which or what time it was, but we were conquered by both of those nations. But that desert made it impossible for their armies to just cross over into that desert. It's like, nah, nigga, we can't do that. It's just too much. You weren't gonna make it. So they had to choose a different route. Now we're not going to go into the route that they chose because now we got to go into like the Fertile Crescent and all this kind of stuff. And so we'll do that another class if we have to. But they did do that, and so the different route that they took, it often brought a lot of the armies, including those two armies, from the north into Israel. So obviously, our people would think, okay, well, because of the different route that they take, it always brought those armies through the north coming into Israel, even though those countries were east of Israel, because like I said, the desert was so crazy that the armies didn't want to go through that. So they went through, coming down and going through the Fertile Crescent, things of that nature. And that's how they got to our land. So naturally, our people are going to associate them with, being the northern powers, because that's the direction that they all came. The Babylonians did it, the Assyrians did it. Quite a few other people did it as well. So as it happens today, we're in the land of what? North America. So it's kind of a foreshadowing. It's not a coincidence because the Most High don't deal with coincidence. So it's kind of a foreshadowing. And so this is the place of our second Exodus. The north, even back then represented the place where our enemies lived, and where our people were taken as slaves. You know what I mean? In the ancient times. And now, so the Most High then, as he is now, he's promising us. He's promising us to reverse, you know what I mean? All the people and all the things that destroyed us, man. And he's literally reaching into the heart of the enemy, man. Even here, he's reaching into the heart of the enemy and the enemy's territory to retrieve not only them back in the days, but us right now, our people right now. And so that's why this Passover is a beautiful thing, because we don't really talk about that. We talk about the history we talk about the Passover and why what we do. We don't talk about why we do it. We don't talk about the history that we do it. We're going to give you the history as to why we do it. You got to know that, man. It's important. So yeah. So here's the thing with that. So Moses, or Mashah, as we call him in the ancient tongue, to fast forward, he's being sent to lead the people out of bondage, and the king of Egypt, or the Pharaoh, if you will, whatever the case. He decides, bump that. You know what I mean? I ain't giving up nothing. Okay. Needless to say, this didn't sit well with the Most High. Especially since I'm pretty convinced that the word no is not in the Most High's vocabulary. I could be wrong, but I don't know too many people. Actually, I don't know anybody that told the Most High no and it worked out well for them. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. So at this point, Pharaoh says no. And the Most High is like, okay, I don't think I like that. So after the plagues, because the Most High started beating on them with the plagues, the 8 plagues, he started beating on them for like 9 different plagues. Now, first of all, I don't like frogs, so I would have gave up already. I don't like lice, so I would have given. There's certain people who do like lice, though. Huh. We'll get back to that. But yeah, I don't like frogs. I don't like starving. I like food. I'm a foodie. So Pharaoh would have said, look, we ain't giving up to this God. And the Most High would have said, look, I'm going to take all pizza out of Egypt. I would have squealed on Pharaoh. I would have. I'd have squealed on him. Like, Most High, look, this is where Pharaoh is. This is where his people is. They got this here. Here's the combination to the lock, whatever. I like food. It is what it is. So, needless to say, this wasn't a great move, a career move for this dude. So after beating on him for like 9 plagues,
It's a lot.
Kun King.
You would have gave it up for a cheeseburger?
Hell yeah, I would have gave it up for the cheeseburger.
Oh man, King, a cheeseburger?
It ain't had to have no cheese.
Oh.
If the Most High said to me, look, if you tell me how to get, if I can beat up Pharaoh, if you tell me how I can beat up Pharaoh for a cheeseburger, of course I'm telling. Of course I'm telling. And it ain't got to be no cheese. Matter of fact, it ain't got to be the cheese I like. It can be some bullshit like some Gouda cheese or some other crap. Yeah, it couldn't even have to be no real cheese that I like. I'm like, Most High, this is where this nigga at. This is what he did. This is where his son is at. Whatever. This is where he at. Niggas got a picture of what they consider holy water right here in this room. Here's the code 369012. No, I would have gave it all up. That's about our nation. Now, if the shoe was on the other foot and Pharaoh was asking, I ain't telling you nothing. But if the Most High is asking, I want to get out of this. He's asking so he can get me out of this captivity. I got all the incentive in the world to tell him what he wants to know. Not that he needs it, but I'm putting it on the carnal level. But if it's Pharaoh, nigga, I ain't telling you nothing. Think about it. Mashiach ain't told them niggas nothing. And he did that for a few reasons when they brought him before the higher ups. Think about it. The Mashiach was who? He was a king. Right?
King of Kings.
Yeah. Pilate wasn't no king. A king only talked to a king. So I ain't got nothing to say to you, nigga. That's number one. Number two, I came to do what I was supposed to do. So we ain't got nothing to talk about. Do what you got to do so I could do what I got to and be what I'm supposed to be. And then after that, do what I got to do. So it was a whole bunch of do what I got to do's. Think about it. You might send an ambassador to a certain place, but only a king talked to a king. Pontius Pilate wasn't no king. Why should the Mashiach talk to him? Like, I ain't got nothing to say to you. On top of that, I know why I came, so nothing I'm going to say is going to be what the Most High told me to say, because my whole purpose was, and he said this time and time and time and time again, what I say is not of my own words. It's what the Father told me to say. I came down to do what the Father told me to do. So he ain't had no reason to talk to them people. Plus, he was a king. So, yeah, I would have snitched. You could have gave me a fake cheeseburger. I'd have snitched. Pharaoh is right here. That nigga's son is right there. You know, whatever they got is right there, and that's that. But that last plague, I'm gonna tell you, that last plague, that firstborn thing, boy, I tell you, he didn't realize that no is not in the vocabulary of the Most High. He don't like the word no. And when you realize the power of him, no is probably not the thing that you want to say to him. So this obviously presented a problem. You know what I mean? Not for us, but for for Egypt. And I'm gonna prove that. Give me Exodus 4. Did we read that? Give me Exodus 4. I think we no. Give me Exodus 4 and verse 21. Yeah, give me give me that.
This is Exodus chapter 4, verse 21. And the Lord said unto Moses, when thou goest to return into Egypt, see that thou do all those wonders before Pharaoh, which I have put in thine hand. But I will harden his heart that he shall not let the people go.
Stop. So in verse 21, we see that the Most High, and just to forward it, the Most High had already spoken to Moses. He did the burning bush thing, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? He had to take off his Nikes, whatever the case were. There was an understanding of that. The Most High told him, hey, look, man, I'm going to give you certain things. Now, these things were the things that he gave him to do. They were specific. That's what a lot of people miss. They were specific. If you understand the history of Egypt and the history of all the nations that we were involved with, they had their own gods. And like I said, I think we have to do a class on who these gods were or why they were considered gods. Because if you can do something that I know is impossible, then you're considered a god. And I gotta be honest, and that's I know it's gonna ruffle some feathers. We got a lot of men out here who say or are under the belief that because a woman can bring forth a baby, she's God.
Yeah, not even a goddess, but God.
Yeah, clearly missing the fact that you need the sperm. Eh, All right, you know what? Let's just leave that. And I think we should do a class on that too, because it's like, are you serious? Did basic logic escape you? Uh, yeah, we can go with the what came first, the chicken or the egg, but how are you a god when you need me to produce another being that would be considered a god? Let that sink in. Anyway, let's go back to the scriptures. Um, where were we? I'm old.
421.
Right. Read that again.
And the Lord said unto Moses, when thou goest to return into Egypt, see that thou do all those wonders before Pharaoh, which I have put in thine hand. But I will harden his heart, that he shall not let the people go.
So the Most High is telling you, hey, look, man, um, do all the things that I told you that I'm going. And he started with some small stuff too, like, hey, man, let the snake, throw the stick down, and let the stick turn into a snake. Now remember, we're in Egypt now. The fallen had already influenced their way of life. That's where they got the gods from. Like I said, we're gonna do a class on that. They had already influenced their way of life, so the people had already seen these type of miracles, uh, so to speak. So when Pharaoh saw Moses throw down the staff, it was no big deal. He went to Janus. Janus was the chief. I don't know what you call them. Magician? I don't know. And the kingdom. So when Moses said, "Hey, Janus, go ahead and do that," whatever, which means that Moses already the Pharaoh had already seen that these dudes can do certain tricks, whatever the case may be, and we know that that's true. Why? Because he did cast down his staff, and they turned into snakes as well. But the Most High was showing that even in your bull crap, I'm still the king. So he had his snake eat those snakes. Let's go back. All right. 22, King.
Verse 22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord, Israel my son, even my firstborn. And I say unto thee, let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn.
See that? Now we're starting to get into some real craziness right here. It's like, hey, yo, Mosai not playing. He about that life. He about his people. Um, see, I think what we got to realize is that when we look at Exodus, you know what? Before we do that, give me Psalms 105. Verse 36. Give me, because I want to give some context. Give me Psalms 105.
Psalms 105, verse 36. He smote also all the firstborn in their land, the chief of all their strength.
You see that? So this is what's going to happen, and that makes an important. Forgive me. I got an alarm set for prayer at 11 o'clock, so it rings off every night at 11. Give me 1 second. Amazon, stop the alarm. Sorry about that. It's a lot. So this is an important thing to understand why he chose the firstborn. In this thing. So read that again. Salat King, read it again.
Psalms 105, verse 36. He smote also all the firstborn in their land, the chief of all their strength. He brought them forth.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's good. You can stop there. So according to the scripture, when we look at it, it wasn't merely a question of just killing. You know what I mean? Because the Most High could have done that. It represented a power struggle. If you understand anything about war, what at least in the eyes of the Pharaoh it did. Look, see, he was considered a living God, right? And in their culture, anyway. And so, if you look at him being a living God, his son or his firstborn son would be what? It would be the future representative of the supposed divine order of a God. So his son would have taken over. But it's weird because how could your son take over for a God if you're a God? You're not supposed to be able to die. So they misunderstood that, obviously, because the fallen weren't eternal. They taught that they were. And so they convinced the people that they were. But they couldn't stop their own demise or judgment. And so we can always go back to the beginning and see why the Pharaoh believed what he believed, and that screwed him because they didn't tell you the truth because they couldn't control that. The fallen can't control that. The Most High is the only creator. So this is what was happening. So when you look at it, all right. So the Pharaoh, his firstborn was supposed to be the continuation of the divine line or the divine lineage. And so the Most High was attacking all of that because that would be the future representative of the supposed divine order. If you look at it, so by the Most High killing the firstborn, which had something to do with the Passover of the Egyptians, and him doing it from the kings and the palaces to the obvious slaves and paupers, this clearly showed the supremacy of the Most High Yahweh over the gods of Egypt. I mean that's just showing that they had no power to stop their own lives. So how could you be a god if you can't prevent your own death? So let's see what scripture we're going to go to. So, and that's just the Messiah was not the Messiah. The Messiah was showing not only their people but our people um, that uh, you know this dude wasn't even able to protect his own people. You know, um, but also uh, the Pharaoh or the king's lineage, which was his firstborn son, who was supposed to take over for him. You can't even protect them. So, um, that was one thing. Secondly, um, it basically served as a reminder that um, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, and that's what they didn't understand though. So um, if you remember, Pharaoh tried to have all of the people or all of the firstborn of Israel um, killed. You know what I mean, by having them um, drowned in the Nile River. Um, you know what? Let's get that. Let's get that in Exodus. Baba Kushar, give me Exodus. Um, what is that? What is that in let's see, 122. Give me Exodus chapter 1, verse 22. Let's go through that real quick.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 22. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive.
See that? So he wanted the um, men or the boy child to be cast into the river. Now, this is not just because you got to ask yourself, well, wait, why the boy child? Why not the women child? See, that goes back to the order way after that. A lot of women don't like to hear that. What's the order? The Most High, the man, Yahushua, the Christ, the man, the woman, and the child. This dude said, no, all the boys, because he knew. Not the women. He didn't say the girl children. He said the boys.
Con.
And that shows that he understood the order. You know what I mean? We can say whatever we want, but he understood the order.
He knew about lineage. He knew if he kill off the men, he killing off the
Right.
lineage. Now I was just adding to your wisdom, Lord. I was saying that he knew if he killed off the man child, he killed off the lineage.
Absolutely. Lineage was very important. Matter of fact, I was just about to get into that. So that's the spirit. That's the spirit. It's about lineage. Because it was about lineage with his firstborn. Why do you think he went wow? Outside of listening to his wife, why do you think he went wow and wanted to come after us when we had already escaped? And we didn't escape, we walked out. Well, we ran out rather. And he got vexed because he knew you destroyed my lineage, I'm gonna destroy yours. That's the thing. And we don't look at that a lot, but that's the thing. So the Most High understood what he was doing. There's a method to the madness of the Most High. Everything is calculated. Nothing happens just because. We just got to understand why it happened and how we can just get into the flow and the ebb of things and do the right things. That's all it is. What's my Bible? All right. So, all right. Give me 1 second. Let me just get this. I got one of those like big print Bibles because I can't see that great. All right. So, all right. So we're at the situation where the Most High uses Moses to go ahead and bring our people out of Egypt. And now Moses had already went to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said, look, man, I ain't releasing the goddamn thing. You can do what you want to do. Moses did the 9 plagues, which is crazy because the 9 plagues represented the 9 plagues. How should I put this? The challenge to the 9 gods. Well, they had many, many, many gods. But those 9 plagues in particular were the gods that those Egyptians held in dear life. So when you look at the 9 plagues, those 9 plagues was like, hey, look, the plague of the water was a certain god. And the Most High said, okay, well, wait a minute. If you're God, I'm going to turn your water into blood. Let's see your God stop that. You know what I mean? So that's what he did with those 9 plagues, because those are the scriptures. Those are the gods that those Egyptians had. The frogs, the things of that, the field, the eating of the locusts. All these were gods that the Egyptians had that they presented to the people. That's why they was very, very successful in in what they were doing. But the Most High was like, look, I'm going to show you that there is no God before me. And so that's why those plagues, they weren't just random things that he decided to do, like the Christian church likes to teach you. These were things that were in a direct conflict with the gods of the Egyptians, because the gods of the Egyptians were telling our people that, look, we hold you in captivity because these gods that we have said that we're better than you, and this is why we're able to do that from the power of them. The Most High said, okay, well, now I'm gonna get my people out of what y'all said, and I'm gonna use those same gods that y'all using to hold them, to show you that those guys ain't got no power to hold them. I'm the one holding them. And that's what he did. And it's not a coincidence that when we look at you know what, let's go into it's no coincidence that when you look at that book into the book of Exodus, when we talk about, hey, who were the people that these gods, who were the gods that these people believed in, and they were taught by the Pharaoh, they had an understanding that they were the ultimate power. The Most High showed them that, no, you're not the ultimate power. I'm the ultimate power. And it's no coincidence that he used Moses. Now remember, earlier on, matter of fact, let's get that. Earlier on, it was, hold on a second. Earlier on, okay, I know it's in, No, that's not it. That's not what I was looking for. Uh, it's a lot. That's not what I was looking for. All right, I can't find it. Earlier on, when we look at the situation in Egypt, um, and it's likened to this country too, because this is the second Exodus that we're ultimately gonna make from this country when we talk, especially when we talk about the land of the north, as it um, as we look at it, we are in North America. All right. And so it's a double fold meaning when we look at that kind of scripture. Um, when you look at, give me Exodus chapter 1, verse 22. Let's go back to that because I want to just bring this home.
Book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 22. And, and Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive.
So you saw that. So it was about the sons because they understood the lineage, like we just talked about, and the sergeant spoke about. It was about the lineage. So when you come up to Moses and you go out into the understanding of the Passover was when the Most High said, "Hey, look, man, uh, nigga, we getting out of here, and we using Moses to get us out of this bondage." Now, this is a tough one because a lot of people don't want to acknowledge it. Um, let me see what scripture I want to get now because Salak. When we go back to Exodus 12, let's talk about how we were supposed to keep the Passover. Um, it was taught to us how we're supposed to keep the Passover because, I mean, it was a very real ritualistic um, holy day, but it was very specific because of certain reasons. Um, it wasn't so much just a historical occurrence because we know it was historical because we still keep it to this day, but it wasn't just about that. Um, uh, it required an act of faith and obedience from our people, and that's what we hadn't had, and that's why we had gotten into that situation the Most High had put us into because we hadn't had the obedience to the Most High. Um, so let's go into how we were instructed to keep the Passover, and then we'll end it with that. So number one, we were supposed to choose a lamb. Um, Now, obviously, it talked about a household. It talked about groups of a household. If the family was too big, if the family was too small, you had to get a lamb that was, you know, fitting for the people that you had at your house. Um, or a young goat. Yeah, the scriptures do say a young goat. And we had to select it on the 10th day um, of the month. Um, we all know why that was. And it had to be a male, had to be a male lamb. It had to be a year old and under with no blemishes, like no broken bones. It had to be physically perfect. That's a foreshadow because the Mashiach was physically perfect. So um, it basically had to be of the highest quality that you could find, which is also a foreshadowing of the Mashiach, which was the highest quality. He never sinned at all, no matter what he went through. He never sinned. Um, and then we had to deal with the sacrifice. Now that we had to get the lamb on the 10th day, but on the 14th day, um, we had to slaughter the lamb. Now that would usually be the whole community that would do that. Um, Obviously, we're so spread out, and there are certain things that prevent us from having the same days. Because I think if we had the same days, we could probably come together and slaughter the lamb. Um, but that wasn't, that wasn't something that uh, that's not something that's going to happen. I don't think right now, because we're so spread out and things that we do and other schools do, that it might be different. Um, so we had to do that. We had to kill that lamb, and that lamb represented a lot of different things, especially um, our transition from being slaves, um, you know, to people who had a covenant with the Most High, because the Most High made the covenant based on that killing of the lamb, and that Passover coming from the our captivity into our freedom. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. They forget about that. Even Israelites, they forget about that. Yeah, we do all that stuff in the lamb and this and that and third, but it's got to understand that that's a from our captivity to our freedom. That's got to be one of the things that's one of the main things that's um, uh, talked about with the Passover. We walked into freedom after that. Yeah, we did what we did after that, but we walked into freedom. Also, it was a sign of, when you look at the lamb and all those things, it was a sign of protection, because the blood was the protection. Weren't we supposed to put the blood across the doorpost? Now, that's also a foreshadowing of the Mashiach Yahushua. Now, we're going to get some people who say no, but we're open to the dialogue. So, please look out and get in touch with us, and we'll gladly, um, engage you in the dialogue about the foreshadowing of the Mashiach Yahushua. Because here's where you would go wrong, or here's where you would have a hard time. If you admit that the Mashiach did exist, and that would cause a problem, because now the biggest thing was, he existed. Now the small thing is, why did he exist? What did he do? So if we say, hey, look, man, that the blood on the doorpost was a foreshadowing of the Mashiach and the blood he shed, if you admit that he was real and it did happen and he did die and they shed his blood, you see where I'm going with this, right? So we in brotherhood and love, we would love to dialogue with other people who feel differently, but it can't get past that. But we'll deal with that. And incidentally, when you look at the blood on the doorpost, which made the and when you look at the Hebrew alphabet, and it's the cha. So when you see the cha and the ya, it means what? Life, or to live. So when you look at that, because you see a lot of people, I don't know if you can see this. Oh, you can't really see it. But on my shield of David, I've got the chaya, which is, which is life or to live. And that's what the symbol on the doorpost was, because you lived if you put that blood on your doorpost, and you died if you didn't. Um, but we can get into that too. And you and old, new, whoever it is, you can't dispute that, because now we're talking about the Lashawan Kodash. Now we're talking about the alphabet. Um, so you had to put that on the doorpost, and that served as an understanding where the destroyer came through and said, "Hey, look, man, no, these people are protected." So the Passover was a covenant of protection. Not only a covenant of um, getting us out of, so not only a covenant of us getting, um, um, just having a covenant of we are the Most High's people and He's our God, outside of these other gods, because we turned our backs on these other gods after a while, and a lot of us didn't. Moses was still going through craziness, but it was also a covenant of protection, um, with the blood on the doorpost. So that's all what the Passover was about as well. It was when the angel of death passed over our homes and only struck our oppressors' homes. Because remember, their God was Pharaoh. So they ain't believing no putting no blood on no doorposts or nothing. Matter of fact, if you go through the scriptures, you understand that the Egyptians hated uh, our people, and they thought that we had to, when we met them, we had to say that we were shepherds. We were shepherds because they considered that type of thing low. And so they considered us shepherds, and once they considered you a shepherd, they were beneath you. They would accept you like, yeah, all right, you a jerk off or whatever the case, and you ain't about nothing. So I'm gonna give you this, and you take this, and just go on over here. And I'm the boss, and this, that, and the third. And that's what they do now. So the Egyptians thought that about our people. So the blood on the doorpost didn't mean nothing to them, but the blood on the doorpost meant something to us, because the Most High gave us the laws. As we look in the book of Psalms, I believe it's 149. Is it 149? Get that for me, Bubba Kushar. Psalms 149. I could be wrong. 19 and 20. Is it 147? Is it 147? Might be 147. Get that.
So,
Yes.
Psalms 147, verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord.
You see that? You see that? So when we go back to that, we understand that, look, the Most High has dealt with just our people. Whether it was bad, whether it was good, He dealt with our people. It was known that we were His people, regardless. So He showed our law. He showed us His laws and His judgment and statutes unto Jacob. As we know, Jacob's name was changed to Israel. So in understanding or explaining the reason we got into this situation, He gave us the laws. So if we break His laws, He got to punish us, not them. They ain't had the laws. Now, obviously, we can go into how He did punish them, but a lot of their punishment, believe it or not, well, some of their punishment came from messing with us and breaking the laws. Why? Because He was the God of the whole universe. So don't let nobody tell you that, hey, look, man, look, the Most High gave us these laws in Psalms 140, 149, 19, was it 147, 19 and 20. He gave that to us. That was because we were supposed to bring that to the other nations. We didn't do that. We didn't do the greatest job in the world. But the laws of the Most High were supposed to be for all so that the earth could run properly. When that doesn't happen, we got people raping, we got people shooting, we got gangbangers, we got banks, all this, you know what we got. So, getting back to the Passover, when the Most High told us, "Hey, put the blood over your door," it was so He could protect us. Those of us who believed and wanted to follow His word. And I'm sure there was some. I don't know for a fact, but I'm sure there was some Israelites who didn't give a damn about that, and they loved Egypt, and they didn't put the blood on their doorposts. Probably a dude like Nathan or Dathan, not Nathan, Dathan. So these things would happen. So he wanted to do that. So that was one thing. So now when we talk about after the thing about the blood on the doorpost was supposed to be a protection so that the death angel can go past. The other thing about it, the Passover, was the meal. Now we're talking about the lamb. The lamb was supposed to be a year and under, and we were supposed to eat that lamb in the Passover because even the Mashiach told when he was keeping the Passover, when he's talking about, hey, eat this because this is my body and this is my blood. Drink this because of my blood. I'll get into that later. The lamb was supposed to be, if you remember, why the lamb? Now think about it. Why any animal? All right. Now I'll ask you a question. Anybody out there? What animal has ever sinned against God? I would wait for an answer, but I already know the answer. None. All animals are innocent. They don't have the capacity to sin against the Most High. However, if you broke the Most High's laws back in the days, it was instant death. With the redeeming, the Most High said, okay, and he even did this with the firstborn in the scriptures who was going to serve in the temple and things of that nature. So there is such a thing as redeeming. So when the Most High said, okay, look, the lamb was innocent, that lamb would be redeemed through its blood. So instead of you perishing, that lamb would perish. Think about that lamb. That lamb ain't did nothing. Think about the Mashiach. He ain't did nothing wrong. He ain't never sinned. But if he hadn't done what he did, we wouldn't be where we are today. So that's part of the Passover as the foreshadowing of the future where we are today. All right. So that lamb was supposed to be roasted over the fire and things of that nature. And, no seasoning or nothing like that. Because guess what? That seasoning wasn't with the Mashiach. When he died, they beat him, they spit on him, they cut him, they did all kinds of crazy stuff. So that wasn't no cool death that he went through. They ain't put no seasoning on the death. Like, I mean, all right, I'm going to let you live or whatever. This is that third. I'm going to kill you, but I ain't going to torture you. They ain't do none of that. So that is a twofold thing. All right. Not only was that lamb and it's supposed to be, and here's how the Most High was specific with it. It's supposed to be no blemishes, a year and under, no nothing. supposed to be perfect as the Mashiach was perfect. He walked this earth perfect. No man walked this earth perfect outside of him. He came down to do exactly that. And so that's why he was the perfect sacrifice. So we can argue about if you say he existed and you say he died, then the problem comes, why did he die? Why did he come down? That's where the explanation comes in. So for those who believe, we just believe in the Most High, this is and the third. If you say, yeah, I believe that there was a Mashiach, or I believe there was Jesus, he was just a prophet. If you believe he died the way he died, then you got to explain why. And if you admit and explain why he died, then that might shatter your whole belief system. So I understand why certain people may say, we don't believe that he existed at all. Because if you do believe he existed, you do believe he walked the earth, you do believe he taught what he taught, you do believe he died, and then you do understand the reason he died, and you believe the reasons that he died, you're going to have a lot of explaining to do. But it is what it is, and we love all our brothers and sisters. So we definitely would love to sit down and continue to discuss this because we all got to get together. You know what I mean? But it's an interesting theory. It's an interesting thing. So we'll look at that. Let's go to the next thing, the unleavened bread. So we went through the lamb. We know what a lamb had to be. Let's wrap this up. We know why the lamb had to be, what it had to be, what it was a foreshadowing of, and it's coming to this. And scriptures talk about the land of the north. We're in North America right now, so we know that this is our, hopefully, most high willing, our final exodus out of this place. So let's go into the unleavened bread. So when you look at the unleavened bread, we had to leave Egypt. You know what? Let me show you how we had to leave Egypt, because I'm gonna have. Let me show you how we had to leave these Jews. Hey, Baba Kushar, can give me Psalms 105 and 38. No, wait, Salah. You know what? Then I'm gonna be done with it soon. Give me 105 and 26. Yeah. Psalms 105 and 26. And we're gonna read it down to 38. And then I think we're gonna go into the bitter herbs, and that's gonna be it.
Call on the one. This is Book of Psalms, verse 1, chapter 105, verse 26.
Yep.
He sent Moses, his servant, and Aaron, whom he had chosen.
Mm-hmm.
They showed his signs among them and wonders in the land of Ham.
Mm-hmm.
He sent darkness and made it dark, and they rebelled not against his word. He turned their waters into blood and slew their fish.
Mm-hmm.
Their land brought forth frogs in abundance in the chambers of their kings.
Mm-hmm.
He spake, and there came divers sorts of flies and lice in all their coasts.
Mm-hmm.
He gave them hail for rain and flaming fire in their land.
Mm-hmm.
He smote their he smoked their vines also and their fig trees, and break the trees of their coasts. Verse 34. He spake, and the locusts came, and caterpillars, and that without number, and did eat up all the herbs in their land, and devoured the fruit of their ground. He smote also all the firstborn in their land, the chief of all their strength.
Stop. So he read a lot. All right, the sergeant read a lot, but I'm going to condense what he wrote, what he read. All right, because he read uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, at least 13 scriptures. But I'm going to condense that. Why? Because that's just the nice person that I am. The Most High gave these niggas the business, basically, because if you notice, everything that he did was based on, as I said before, a direct challenge to their gods. Everything that they built their land on, everything that they built their society on was based on a God that they said allowed them to have that, including our captivity. They told us that they held us captive because they were the boss. Sound familiar, don't it?
Con,
Kind of sound like today, don't it? Y'all,
con.
we know different, goddammit. We know different. The only difference is none of our people knew different. Some of our people do now, but it sounds familiar. Y'all the man. Y'all got everything going for y'all. Y'all the man. And that's how y'all was able to keep us in submission. Yeah, nigga, I think not. All right. So when you read down, this is what they were. This is how they had us in captivity. And not only us, but the other people or the other nations that they had in captivity, because they made them believe that they did that because these gods that they had allowed them to do that because they were superior. Sound familiar? But we know why. The scriptures tell us because we disobeyed the Most High. Because if you think about it, our people didn't want to be ruled by the Most High. They didn't want to be ruled by something that was invisible. They wanted to be ruled by man. What they didn't realize is they wanted to be ruled by physical man. And they didn't realize that, look, physical man was the reason we got into this goddamn bullshit.
Con.
Adam screwed up. That's how we got into this. Physical man is not perfect. Till we got to the Mashiach. So if I want a perfect utopia, how am I going to expect that from an imperfect being? It's going to be at some point he's going to screw up. He has to. He's not perfect. So when we go back to the scripture and we look at all the things that he had done in Psalms 105, Most High was giving them niggas the business. Now, go to 36. Psalms 105, 36.
Verse 36. He smote also all the firstborn in their land, the chief of all their strength.
You see that? Now, it's crazy because he sent Moses, or as we call Marshall, to go handle that business, right? Now, that last plague was the one that packed them niggas up, right? That packed them the Egyptians up. That last plague, that killing of the firstborn, from the king to the goddamn slave. But here's the crazy part. The Most High used Moses, who himself was spared from that. Didn't Pharaoh say, Hey, man, he tell the midwives, throw all them boys in the river, Nile. Moses was saved from that. So it's not ironic that the man who was saved from the decree of the Pharaoh came back to handle them niggas with the Most High. Handle the firstborn. You tried to throw all the firstborn of our people in the Nile. Moses was the firstborn. And it kind of, the script kind of got flipped because the Most High turned around and said, look, I'm going to use Moses to rock out with y'all niggas on y'all firstborn. And that's why, and that's what, oh, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into that. So yeah, so but wait. So after that, these niggas was like, yo, y'all niggas got to go. We just get what they call out. Read 38.
Verse 38. Egypt was glad when they departed, for the fear of them fell upon them.
You see that? They was like, nigga, y'all got to go. We can't do it. Y'all got to go. And that's how the Most High dealt with that shit. Salah. That's how he dealt with that, because the Most High don't play games, man, when it comes to his. And so for these people today to think that the Most High is playing games, nah, it's all his plan. At the end of the day, his plan is always going to work. I'll say it again. He either allows it or he causes it. You know what I mean? So nobody gets away. So let's go back. So let's get into it. So we got into the unleavened bread. Let's get into the unleavened bread, because when we had to, the unleavened bread comes from the fact that when we left Egypt, and we just read where they wanted us out of there, it was happy for us to go. The unleavened bread comes from the fact that we had no chance, because we all know that bread has to rise, and you need yeast to make the bread rise. And so the fact that we had no time to let the bread rise, we had no time to put the yeast in it, because we was out of there. Because them dudes ain't just say, hey, man, look, man, y'all, I like the movie with Charlton Heston, like, hey, y'all go ahead, man. They put the go. Niggas wasn't doing all that, just like they're not going to do it today. You think they're going to give this place up easy? No. They'd rather destroy this place than give it up. Bottom line, they'd rather destroy this place than give it up. What they don't realize is, do what you want. You're going to give it up, though, goddammit. You do what you want. You might destroy your system that you created, but you're not going to destroy the physical world. You ain't create that. Most High created that. That ain't got nothing to do with you. He ain't going to let you do that. He said, I'll never flood the world again for man's sake. The physical world. Yeah, obviously the system too that created these giants and all this kind of craziness. But he was talking about the physical world, because the plants had to suffer, animals who ain't did nothing had to suffer. But now, and here's the crazy part. People say that, well, animals had to suffer. Ain't no goat do nothing. Yeah, but you don't realize that they were splicing DNA. These dudes was beating the goats and beating the giraffes and all type of stuff and mixing DNA and all type of stuff. So yeah, they were corrupted too. Most I don't do nothing just for nothing. So no animals or they were splicing DNA and doing crazy stuff with those animals and creating hybrids. Look at that. What's that thing called in the zoo?
With a liger?
A liger. Look at that. They're telling you what they were doing. They're showing you what they were doing. Look at that. Look at these dog breeds that they have. They were doing that back then. So when the Most High destroyed everything, it wasn't because they were innocent. It was because he knew what they were doing with them. Most High's infallible. He don't make no mistakes. He knows everything. And you may not understand what he's doing. And so you might look at a certain thing and say, hey, this don't make no sense. No, your interpretation of it might not make sense. The Most High know what he's doing. And to the people that love righteousness, they'll understand. Even if it's after a while, they'll understand. But you that want to marry this world with the spiritual world, you're not going to get it 100%. You got to come over to the right-hand side. And so when you look at the let's go back to the unleavened bread. We have no time to get out of, to put leaven or yeast in the bread. So we had to be out. We had to bounce. You know what I mean? Because the Most High had got us out of there, and these people did not want to let us go after a while. The Most High talks about the bread of affliction, in a lot of things, especially when we were dealing with the Egyptians, and that's all true. And there's a purity that comes from that. Look at the purity of bread. The affliction was pure because you know what, we had done wrong, to the Most High, and so the Most High had made us deal with that, but just for a time. What parent don't chastise their kid? Most High said he chastised those he loved. You know what I mean? So if he don't love you, he lets you do whatever you want to do, then you done with him. But he chastised those he loves. So we can't look at it in a carnal nature. When we go through the bitter herbs, the bitter herbs was meant to show us really simple the situation that we're going through. We're going through bitter herbs right now. What's our bitter herbs right now? Back in the days, it was what they were doing to us that was crazy physical. Did it change? It didn't change. Even down to just being stopped by the police. That's bitter herbs, man, because we know what it is. And don't think they don't know what it is. They know what it is. They know who, because they know who we are. They know who they are. They know what their orders are. And we have to understand that the Most High got us no matter what. When Peter walked out on that boat, remember, there was a whole bunch of them niggas in there. Peter was the only one that got out. Why everybody else ain't get out? They could have. Didn't they believe with the same thing that Peter believed? But they didn't. They weren't willing to take that shot. Peter said, fuck it. Forgive my language. He said, I'm going to do it. And the Mashiach said, I like this dude. Come on out. Ain't nobody else. Come on out. Think about that. They could have. Weren't they all his disciples in there? Why only Peter? So we got to understand that when with the bitter herbs, it's the bit of bondage. But in that bit of bondage, in that fire, is forged heroes. Men who will fight and die for the Most High and for the nation under the auspices of the Mashiach Yahushua. So when you look at the bitter herbs, it's supposed to remind us. You don't want to get comfortable. Niggas got jobs, they got, and all that stuff is beautiful. But think about that. Think about your job. Let's say you make $200,000 a year, right? You make that in this system. You know they hate you. So you don't have to ask yourself, well, wait a minute, why did I get this? And I know that everything that they do is against me, but yet I still persevered. It's got to be something else. It's got to be an existential reason why that happened to you. Can't be for them. They don't want you to be where they at. Remember, supremacy is their thing. They're better than you. Supremacy is their thing. Why are you here when they don't want you to? Two things happen. One, Most High wants you for his reason. Or two, you got some shit you got to straighten out. Because he may want you to see with your evil mind or whatever it is, this is where I'm going to put you at so you can see. You know what I mean? It's possible. So that's what the bitter herbs was for. The bitter herbs is just to remind us of the bitter bondage that we serving now. When you're talking about not getting no jobs, last one hired, first one fired, living in the hood, redlining, not being represented properly, having the worst foods, having the worst water, all these type of things. This is bondage. And so the bitter herbs is supposed to remind you of that so you don't ever want to go back and do that type of stuff that put you there. As simple as that. I don't want to go back to the crap that put me here. That's it. There's no nigga, that's just it. That's just it. I don't want to do it. And what logical person wants to go back to something that they know created the worst experience in their lives? But yet we do it all the time. So that's what the bitter herbs is supposed to represent. And then you go to the having your loins girded and the staff. Now remember, because of the type of situation we were under, we had to be dressed and ready to go. We had to be dressed and ready to go. We had to have our staff because our people wasn't punks. We had to have our staff to defend ourselves, and not only ourselves, but our wives and our children. We had to defend them because that wasn't their office, as it should not be. And we had to eat that really, really, really quickly because, they was after us. Just like niggas after us today. They was after us. But now it's not only the nations that's after us, they're using our people to be after us. And they're after us in every single incident or every single, what's the word I'm looking for? Avenue that you can think of. They're attacking everything that we love. It's not about just food. They're attacking, look, Canada just, and I don't know if it's true, but Canada just made a law that equated Bible scriptures to hate speech. You know what I mean? So when we look at that, it was just crazy. Looking at the Bible, you got to look at it too. It was a twofold thing. All these things were to separate us physically and spiritually. You know what I mean? Because we were supposed to be separated from those people, even though we were there. And then was to test our obedience to the Most High, the willingness to divine, the willingness for us to accept and to do the instructions that the Most High gave us based on the Passover. Like publicly marking our doorposts at that time. Man, we were in Egypt. They already wanted to kill us after all those plagues. And then you went outside and put the blood on your doorpost. Nigga, you could have been killed. But it was about obedience. You know what I mean? So, what else in the Bible? And so it's a commemoration for us, commanded by the Most High to celebrate that time throughout our generations. So I don't know why people are saying that we don't have to keep these things anymore, because guess what? We have to remember those things. How do we not? How do we not keep them and don't remember them? We have to remember them in order to keep. We have to keep them in order to remember them. That's why we. You know what? Here's the crazy part about it: the fact that we don't keep the Passover. That's why a lot of that's one of the reasons why a lot of craziness is going on right now. Because everybody's like, yo, you can do what you want because Christ died for your future sins. What? So Christ knew I was going to rape somebody in 2029? Like, come on, that don't make no sense, man. That's crazy. Now, if you're talking about, hey, things that you can do that can be forgiven, God forbid you do something in the future, then that's different. But that's not the way that they're wording it. So, let's see. I think that's about it, man. I just wanted to get into that because we were supposed to, because the Passover is coming up, and basically what it was about was the time that our people had gotten freed from bondage under the Egyptians, and a lot of other nations had held us in bondage, and the Most High had gotten us out of that thing, but He hadn't attacked these other nations like He did with the Egyptians because of the arrogance of these people. So with the Passover coming up, man, I pray that everybody understands why they're celebrating it, why they should celebrate it, why we should keep it going, even if it's just for remembrance sake. And for all those that are going to join us for our Passover via physical or on internet or however we broadcast it. I thank you. And it's time for us to rise and get back to the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. And Sarge, you got anything to say before we go?
Yeah, I just want to say, the Lord said, keep the Passover. So that's what you do. You keep the Passover. Like, you know what I mean? Um, He said throughout all your generations, man, He didn't just say, stop it now, or He didn't give it an expiration date. You know what I'm saying? He just said, keep it.
Right.
So that's what you do. I mean,
But there's certain reasons why we're supposed to keep it. So yeah.
yeah, like you was bringing out earlier. You know what I mean? Even with the significance with Yahweh Shah, you know what I mean, with the lamb and everything, the blood, and it's deep, and it has so many meanings that, like, for you to just say, oh, for you to even teach that, or you know what I mean, that's like a slap in the face to the Most High. And as a child of the Most High, you have to be wary of when you hear messages like that, because you should know that's not of the Lord. Like, deep down in you, you should have that feeling like, hold on, is this of God? Is this of the Most High? Is this of the Lord? And and when they try to tell you things like that, search the scriptures for yourself, and get a clear understanding. Ask the Lord to help you get a clearer understanding.
Come. It's a thing where if you believe who you are, you believe why you are, you believe in the Most High, then you understand why He said what to do. Now, even just as important as why He said to do what He wanted us to do, He knows the reason why He wants us to do that, because He knows, hey, the reason that you're in this situation is because you didn't do what I told you to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to reiterate time and time and time again throughout history what I want you to do if you want to stay away from what I might have to do to you, because I'm righteous. See, the Most High is not a person like us. He's righteous. You know what I mean? Which is why, if you look at all some of the prophets and even some of the kings, they was like, look, man, look, you know, man, look, I just throw myself on your mercy, because I know that if you dealt with me according to your righteousness, I'm out of here. But if you deal with me according to your mercy, I stand a chance. A lot of people know that. David know that. He knew that. So with the Passover, the main thing we got to take away from that is that, look, man, that's a wonderful, beautiful celebration, man, because it brought our people out of the bondage and the slavery that they were in under another nation who thought that their gods were better than our power. And they came to find out, and we came to find out that they weren't. And that what we thought we wanted, we really didn't want. We wanted to be ruled by other people. We wanted to rule by men. No, Most High is the best thing that ever happened to us. And he showed us that in the Passover. And he kept his word. He kept his promise. Put that blood on the doorpost, and I'm going to pass over your house. And so not only was that a physical Passover, but our people also passed over from bondage to freedom. And from bondage of the mind to freedom of the mind, understanding that there ain't no other God but the Most High, Yahweh. And there ain't no other king but the Mashiach, Yahushua. And I think that's the takeaway from this. So I hope that you know, everybody found this
Well, I just want to.
yeah, go
King. I just want to say one more thing. With the Passover. Just remember. Also. The first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread and the seventh day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. They are both holy convocations, and you are not supposed to do no work. There ain't no servile work. No servile work, meaning like work for hire.
Con. I guess we should have got into that. Yeah. But that's 7 days of that's the days of not having leaven, only because like the scriptures talked about, we had no chance to have the bread rise. And also you want to purge the leaven, because the scriptures talk about other types of leaven. You want to purge the leaven out of your life. You want to purge the leaven out of your spirit, the things that rise that are not good.
Fine.
And we're talking about hatred, jealousy, pride, all these type of things. You got to purge that leaven. That's leaven for the new year. You want to start the new year with a clean slate. And those things have been plaguing us. That's leaven. That's unhealthy leaven. Because think about it. Any other time of the year, leaven is great. So that's unhealthy leaven that we're talking about. That's unrighteous leaven that we're talking about. And that's what that physical leaven of the when you go through the Feast of Unleavened Bread, that's what that's supposed to commemorate, so that you remember that too. Because think about it, when you come out of that bondage and you come into freedom, you can't come into freedom with that same type of leaven. You gotta get rid of that leaven so that your freedom You understand? You got to get rid of that leaven, because without that, you don't ever really come out of that bondage. Your freedom is only temporary. So when you come out of that, when you look at the physical bondage and and the spiritual bondage, the Passover, you have come from a death into life. You've come from bondage into freedom. You get rid of that leaven, and that allows you to be totally free, because you get rid of all those things that kept you in bondage. Don't Spiritual bondage is a serious thing. We're in bondage in our jobs. We're in bondage in our families. We're in bondage in our wives or husband. We're in bondage in our children. There are a lot of things that causes us bondage, that keeps us in bondage. And so when we pass from um, um, bondage into freedom, you got to get rid of that leaven, because that leaven were the things that keep you in bondage. And that allows you to start afresh, to start new, to have that new year. So it all ties in. It all ties in. Life. Life is living without that bondage, living without that freedom. Mashiach showed us that. He never said not to keep the law. He said, let me show you how to keep the law to where you can be free. You won't be in bondage to the law being done the wrong way. That's what a lot of people seem to forget and mistake. That's why he ain't come to destroy no law. He came to show you how to live it, how to do it the proper way. Who don't like that? Who denies that?
And one of the things that I think a lot of people overlook is that he showed true brotherhood. Like he showed how to be a brother. He showed loving your brother. Like even with all the things that the men that were closest to him, that you could say that he considered as his brothers, you know what I mean, the 12 that was with him majority of his time, right? Like they was doing things that made him mad. They were doing things that you could say pissed him off. He was always saying things like how he's always saying he was saying about their faith, you know. He was always letting them know that their faith was low and that they need to that they had to check themselves,
Right,
you know. So
right.
he, you know what I mean? So it was things that they were doing that was making him mad. You know what I mean? But he still had love for them. Shoot, he even knew Judas was gonna cross him at the end. He knew Peter was gonna deny him 3 times. You know what I'm saying? But he still loved them brothers, and he still had love for them, and he still was rocking with them, and he still gave them a chance to not do it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a when we're talking about the Passover, man, and how special a Passover is, it's because it covers so many different um understandings about what the Passover really is, and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and the things that matter is, look, man, the Most High physically brought our people out of bondage. He is waiting to bring you spiritually out of spiritual bondage. He's telling you how to do it. He's telling you how to sacrifice yourself in order to do it. And he's explaining the leaven, or the things that you've held on to, how to get rid of that and to come into this newfound you, come into this newfound year. So everything is a foreshadow. Yeah, physically we're actually going to be able to make this second exodus, but spiritually you can make an exodus from that bondage, the things that are keeping brothers and sisters, relationships, parents, kids, um, porn, sexual addictions, whatever. These are the things that are
Gangs.
what? Yeah, exactly. These are the things that are keeping us in bondage and that spiritual bondage. This is the day coming up in the Passover that in commemorating that and celebrating that and putting your heart and soul into it, you can actually free yourself from those other bondages.
Con, con. Like, uh, just, just the other day. Not to cut you off, my fault, Salah King.
No, no,
Just the,
no. Fine.
just the other day. Just speaking of that, right? Just the other day, I was talking to a brother, and I was talking about and we was talking about him coming to keep the Passover, right? And he was like, "Yo, King, how you how you balance Israel and being a blood?" And I said, "I don't. I don't. I'm not with that shit no more. I don't rock with that. Like, you know what I mean? I It's only one way for me, and it's only, you know what I mean, I'm rocking with the most high. Like, I put everything else on the back burner. I told him, like, yo, look, you know what I mean, you gotta keep it real with those that you love, and the ones that love you and know you the best, they have respect and they love you and they want the best for you. You know what I mean? But the haters and stuff like that, of course, they're going or the ones that don't know you or just the Satan, he's just gonna try to hold you back once he see that you trying to get to the Most High.
Well,
True
shoot, this,
enough, the very next day, right after I told his brother that, he got like some people tried to check him on some gang shit, and he was and just that quick, he was about to go back into that mindset of going back into that world, and we had to have a whole conversation. And Lord willing, he'll come through the Passover.
well, here's the thing, though. I mean, how many times did we have to go into captivity to get it right? You know what I mean? So
Uh,
you introducing that brother to the understanding that because a lot of times we don't believe nothing, we don't believe shit stink until we smell it. And in this situation, when you look at it, you was in it. What he's in, you were in it. So you were able to show him, look, this is how I got out of it. I don't necessarily mean that he's gonna catch it on the first try. You know what I mean? So you just got to keep doing it because he can see how you talk and how you live. That hey, look, man, this works for this man, and it can work for me if that's what he wants to do. Now, if he wants to still be with that evilness, nothing you're gonna say gonna matter to him. So you got to understand when it's a certain thing where hey, look, man, I can lead a horse to water, but I can't make him drink. He got to want to drink it. And that's
yeah,
what
true.
the high and my shock is showing us too with all the scriptures is look, man, I put it up there to you. You got to take it. If you don't want to take it, at the end of the day, when you get the other side of it, don't blame me. Don't blame me. So I got nothing else. Sorry.
Or check the comments. See if
Uh, yeah, I
I
don't
do
see.
see I do see one question.
Do you see what? Do you see comments? I don't see. Oh, I was in the wrong place. That's why I ain't see nothing. Oh, I was in the wrong place. I apologize, y'all. I'm not really good with technology. Oh man. When you roast the lamb, do you season it with salt, pepper, and oh yeah, let's answer this question. Yeah, nah, you don't season it with salt and pepper, man. You season it with adobo and no, you don't
With
season
fire.
it. Yeah, it's just with fire. And I'll be honest with you, this is maybe I've the most I allowed me, wicked nigga that I am, to see at least 20 Passovers
All
and
praise.
all praises. And I gotta be honest, um, lamb roasted on the fire with nothing. That's a wonderful, clean taste. It's so nice. It's so nice. And now, when you realize why you don't roast it with seasonings, is because seasonings represent, um, you know, good things, tasty things, and
Yeah.
that wasn't for us and our people in Egypt. That's not for us here now. We might
Yeah.
have some blessings, but those blessings come from the Most High. It's not the people that keep us in bondage. They don't want us to excel. They need us in bondage.
Yeah. We ain't had time. We ain't had time to be marinating.
Yeah, they ain't shit. So they need us in bondage in order for them to seem like they shit. But we know they ain't shit. So the seasoning would represent really, really, really good times and great taste and leisure and all that. And it's just not here for us like that. It's just not. Uh,
Yeah, we was
so
trying to eat. We was trying to eat and go.
yeah, so exactly. And so when you roast that lamb, you don't. And besides that, if you look at it coincidentally, look what they did to the Mashiach. Look how they treated him. Look how they destroyed him. Look how they tortured him. So if he's supposed to be the lamb, the sacrificial lamb, we ain't putting no seasoning on that because ain't nothing good happened to him. He didn't go through no great time. He even asked the Most High to take the cup from him because he knew
Con.
what these niggas was about. And they was our people. So look what he had to go through as a sacrificial lamb. He went through some craziness. Nothing happy. Nothing nice.
Most I told him it was a good thing what he was going through.
All right. So when you look at the seasonings that's supposed to make it taste good, that's leisure, that's niceness, that's coolness. We didn't go through that, and the Mashiach didn't go through that. You got to have that raw. But look how good it tasted because his sacrifice was a beautiful thing. We knew what we got when he sacrificed himself. So it still tasted wonderful because that was a taste of freedom, freedom from this bondage of sin. So every time you do something wrong, or we do something wrong, we got to think about that. And that's why you didn't have all that, or you don't need all that seasoning and all that. And yes, Wonder Wanna, you're right. We're going to eat and leave. And that's right. I'm going to eat and leave. You know, I mean, that's our people. What you want to do? That's our people. That's what we do. That's what we do. You know that. Uh,
Um,
Ithaca Right Princess 3167. That's right. Khan. It is naturally perfect. He was naturally perfect. Very, very, very good insight on that, sis. Very good insight. He was naturally perfect. He hadn't sinned at all. So it gives you an understanding of when he was at the Passover and he told them to eat of his flesh and drink of his blood. There's a lot more to that, but that's another class. But that's a good insight that you had. All praises.
Honestly, you don't even gotta put no seasoning on lamb, man.
Nothing is by accident. Nothing is random. Everything tie into each other. It's just that you gotta have the wherewithal and the spirit to understand these things, so they all tie in together. Yeah, it's 12. It's almost 12:30. I think we're done. I'm not going to miss not meeting y'all this Passover. I'll be there in spirit. Oh, of course you will. Most High, of course, absolutely. We love all our people, man. We do. Um, we keep our nose to the street. You know what I mean? We the grindstone of Israel, man. We we we're the what do you call it? We're like the we stay low in the street. You know what I mean? Because somebody got to do it. But we appreciate and we love all our people who are all family to us. You know what I mean? But who support us, who love us. Um, we we love all our people. We love all the people who are in camps who are not with us. Um, as long as they believe uh, and understand who they are. Um, those little things can be worked out, and if not by us, by the Mashiach when he returns. Um, we have certain different ideologies, but we love all Israel, man. You know what I mean? Because we are not ourselves. We are not of ourselves. We belong to the Most High. Why Yahweh? So whatever discrepancies we might have regarding who's who, man, that can be worked out. As long as you are Israel, I got your back and you got mine. That's all we care about. We've always been that way. Ambassador Christ has always been that way, and will always continue to be that way. We're on one of the few camps, one of the first camps that, as the proverbial cross the picket line to other camps who don't even believe in the Mashiach. But didn't matter to us, man, because you know what? We love all our people. And like I said, that other stuff can be worked out, man. But um, there's certain camps that people that don't believe in camps, that don't even deal with camps, and we can understand. A lot of camps, they so screwed up, and they've screwed up so many people that nobody want to deal with them, and we understand that too. Um, uh, we sympathize with brothers and sisters who has gone through that, and we're very, very, very sorry about that. That's not supposed to happen. Regardless of what people say, that's not supposed to happen. We're supposed to be about the Most High business in the Mashiach. So, um, we're very different when it comes to that. Yeah, we might be, you know, uh, organized confusion, but uh, we love like no other people. You know what I mean? Um, we love that about ourselves, man. That we're fluid. You know what I mean? We're very, very fluid when it comes to this work. You know what I mean? And our brothers get out there, regardless, in the snow, in the rain, in the sleet, in the hail. Well, I ain't seen no hail though, but in the weather, we get out there and the highways and the byways. Um, but we don't knock the camps that don't do that. Maybe that's not your office. We'll toe the line when it comes to the hard shit. We'll toe the line. Because that's what we do. That's what we always do. That's what we've always done. We'll toe the line. Alpha Omega clan is going to always be in the trenches. And we'll meet you, brothers who have a different calling. If you have a different calling, that's a beautiful thing, man, because scripture says that the gospel got to be preached throughout all the world, and we're all members of one body. So there are a lot of brothers and a lot of camps who can't be in the trenches, who ain't got thing to be in the trenches. Got that spirit to be in the trenches. And we love brothers. We love that because hell, We don't wear soft clothes. We in the trenches.
Somebody gotta do it.
Somebody got to do it. And we love doing it. That's been our thing, 20 years plus. So we need our brothers who might not operate the same way that we operate, as long as they believe we all believe the same things for our nation. We'll deal with that. Y'all just do y'all part. If we do ours, y'all do y'all part. So we're looking forward to this Passover, or this Pesach, and we're gonna have a great time. Hey, look, man, any of you guys or girls, or however y'all call it. I mean, I'm dating myself right now. Man, come on out. We're gonna be in the Bronx. It's gonna be April 1st. Even certain people have certain different days. Most of us straighten out all that, man. We rehearse in the righteous acts, man, to the best of our knowledge. And so that's what we're doing. If y'all in the Bronx and New York area, come out on the 1st, man. Come have a great time with us. Any other camps, any other schools, it don't matter. Individuals, we don't care, man. It's about coming to the wedding. You know what I mean? And unless the sergeant got anything else, man, I think wait, hold on. Do we have any other dishes outside of unleavened bread and lamb for the Passover? Oh man.
Well, yeah, besides the Seder meal, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
The Seder meal is the most important meal, but after that, I mean, it is a feast, so keep that in mind. So, you know what I mean? Just make sure it ain't got none leaven in it.
yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people forget about they look at the Passover and they look at the Seder meal, the Seder, which means the order. They look at that and they say, okay, well, yeah, we just got to have the Seder meal, which is the lamb and the bitter herbs and the wine. But if we think about it, there wasn't even no wine at the beginning. Now, when you go into the times of King Josiah, then they started to, progress and have things in that nature. But there was no wine in the beginning. So if we're not going to have nothing else, let's not have no wine neither. But the Seder meal is different from the other thing, because when you look at it, right after the on the same night as the Passover starts what? The Feast of Unleavened Bread. The feast. You just can't have no bread with leaven, but it's a feast.
Yeah, and which I gotta remember, they feasting that the angel of the Lord passed over.
Yes, yes, it's a feast. It's a feast. Now, when we get to these type of things, these are the type of things that upset me, because it's like, well, wait a minute. It's a feast, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. It didn't say the fast of unleavened bread. It said the feast of unleavened bread. You shall have no leaven. It didn't say you shall have no other food. It said you have no leaven. So nothing you do can't have no leaven. That's completely separate from the Seder meal. Because as we know, the Seder meal, as far as what they call the matzah, didn't have no leaven in it. It's unleavened bread. So the other foods, we know that that's a contention among Israel. We had a lot of things go down years ago with a video with our, which was just really, really bad. And it was false when you look at what ambassadors of Christ, when you look at our Passover back in those days when that video was made. It wasn't a true depiction of what was going on. And even that was crazy, because the video was made, but the proof showing that we couldn't have those foods that we had never came forth, because you can't find it. It's the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You can have a feast. You just can't have nothing that had leaven in it. There were even certain brothers and camps that was like, yo, you can't have vinegar, you can't have ketchup, you can't have, like, nigga, what? No, let's stop adding to what the Most High said. Stop adding to the word. It said leaven. Once you understand what the leaven was on a physical standpoint, as far as food is concerned, you're not supposed to have that. But it was the feast of unleavened bread. They keep forgetting that word, the feast. So we're going to have other foods. We're going to have it separate, obviously. We're going to have it after the Seder meal and the service, but we're going to have other foods because it's a feast. Prove us wrong. That's all. Prove us wrong with scripture, not with your opinion. Prove us wrong. Prove that we can't have it. And guess what? When you do, I promise you, we'll stop. But don't just talk shit and you know what I mean, try to wild out like you know what I mean, this, that, and the third, or whatever the case. You know what I mean? Don't do that. Give us the scriptures. Give us the scriptures where we can't have it. It's a feast. God damn it. Well, yeah, I understand. Destiny Birdlow 5403. Yeah, absolutely, sis. And all praises to the Most High Yahweh Shah for you and your family celebrating that thing, because that's the thing, that the biggest thing is celebrating this day, commemorating, remembering why, and moving on in that spirit. But it's a feast. The Passover is the Passover, and the Feast of Unleavened Bread is the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Yeah, they go in conjunction, but they're separate in the way that they're celebrated. The commemoration, I didn't even say that right, I'm sorry, I probably didn't, is linked, but it's the feast. Why mention it if it wasn't going to be a feast? Why mention it? It would have just said, and celebrate the Passover, and that's it. But it mentioned the next thing, which was the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Yeah. And
stop it, man. Stop being over righteous, especially if you don't know. Go ahead, King.
I was going to say, there is a flour you can use to fry chicken and to make fried goods. I'm just not sure which one it is. I'm not sure if it's the whole flour or the self-rising. If I'm not mistaken, it's the self-rising. However, because I'm not sure, I just refrain from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I just stay away from it altogether. But you can have a feast, F-E-A-S-T, feast of unleavened bread. No leaven.
Steamed veggies. Yeah, your steamed veggies, your rice.
Nonsense, man. Stop with the nonsense.
Your rice, you know what I mean? Your stools, you got stools, you got
all of that. Listen, all of that stuff. If it ain't got no leaven in it, you fine. And my thing is, I don't think that I don't think we'll be proven wrong, because I don't see it.
Yeah, and don't forget the good music. Y'all got some good music.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see it. It said the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Obviously, there's supposed to be a feast. There are a lot of other high holy days where the Most High declares we're supposed to have a feast. This is different from the feast of those other days. It's the same goddamn word, feast. You just can't have anything with leaven. And so that's what we got to really stop doing, man. We really do. And if you feel we're wrong, hey, let's get together on that. Let's counsel on that. We'll gladly be willing to do that, because we're supposed to move as a nation. That's why we're still in this condition. We ain't moving as a nation. So we'll definitely move as a nation.
God. When you have disputes among Israel, it's not supposed to be like, oh, F them brothers over there, F them brothers over there. We
Oh,
supposed
no,
to say, yeah, like you said, King, we supposed to have a sit down. We're like, yo, you know what? Send word over to the brothers over there. We need to have a sit down, boom, boom, boom. They elders, boom, boom. Choose a neutral location.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Brothers go. So and then we're not saying all councils gonna be completed in a day or hour. Sometimes it may take a year. You know what I mean? It may take 10 years. As long as we get it right. I mean, but we gotta at least have these conversations.
Well, sometimes what happens is a lot of times as brothers, they there's a lot of pride that goes into what they believe, and a lot of times it comes with what they were taught, and they're not willing to uh, let the Holy Spirit dictate what the thing. Because guess what? At the end of the day, it's the Holy Spirit that gives the increase. You know what I'm saying? Through the Most High, Yahushua, and um, certain brothers want to hold on to certain things, and I get it because we hold on to certain things, or we have held on to certain things, and once we realize that, hey, look, man, this is not what it was really saying, and this doesn't benefit us, we let it go. And so I think that's what has to happen. So no, but no matter whatever we is presented before us, the thing we got to remember is the scripture said right after that is the feast of unleavened bread. There's a feast that has to go on, kings and queens. There's a feast. You can't get past that. Now we can debate what goes on in that feast, but you really can't because it doesn't say. The only thing it says is no leaven in the bread.
I was just about to say that, King. How
That's
you
all it
gonna
says.
debate?
So you
How you gonna
can't,
debate what happened at the feast?
right. So you really can't debate what else you can have. We know what, all right, let's just say this. Even if you don't know what you can't have, you do know what you, I mean, even if you don't know what you can have, you do know what you can't have. And what you can't have is leaven.
11.
So there you go. So yeah, we will be having other foods at our Passover, and we welcome the hate um, because it does. It's not a thing where we shy away from, but what it is a learning and a teaching moment and a coming together moment. Because hey, sometimes that's what it takes to bring people together. So we acknowledge it and we accept it, and we love brothers and sisters, camps or no camps, whatever the case may be. Hey, let's get together, get some people together, and let's talk about this. Let's get this straight. So that's one less thing the Mashiach got to do when he returns. So, uh,
Because and that'll also help him one step closer into coming.
yeah, exactly. Now, I don't know. One to One said there are several unleavened flowers. I don't know about those. I've never. I don't know. Maybe I've seen them and I don't know. But yeah, if you can be sure of that, then yeah, do it. I don't know, so I'm just going to stay away altogether. Um, but if there is such a thing, um, that you can do it, and yeah, um, you can prove that it is uh, flour without the leavening agent in it, then yeah, go ahead and do that, man. Go ahead and do that. There is a thou shalt and thou shalt not. If you find a natural flour that doesn't have a leavening agent in it, and you can bake with it or fry with it, man, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, kind. King Arthur and Bob's Red Mill flour. are supposed to be two brands that use unleavened
Okay.
unleavened in a flour.
Okay, I don't know anything about that, but yeah, there you go. If you guys want to know what you can use, maybe look into that. Use unbleached organic flour. Okay, I mean, is that like no leaven? I don't know. Is that no leaven in it? But if it is, then yeah, absolutely, absolutely, it is no leaven, not no vinegar, not no nothing. Leaven, yeast. Now, whatever has yeast in it, you obviously can't use. But if it doesn't have yeast in it, you can use. Thou shalt not. Anything other than that, man, you add into the word, man. There are several. Wonder One says, okay, I read that already. Uh,
Yeah,
yes.
when they say unbleached, that's what it's talking about. No leaven.
Okay, all right. I mean, I don't know, but okay. You just do your research on it. You know what I mean? Just do your research on it. Um, we even had brothers that, and I'm gonna say this. I know brothers probably don't want me to say it, but I'm gonna say this. We even had brothers that wanted to make. Well, yeah. Anyway, um,
Let me stop that.
yeah. It just, yeah, whatever. But the point is, look, man, it's about the feast. Thou shalt not. The thou shalt not is no leaven, no rising agent. Once you understand everything that a rising agent is, you can start to uh, eliminate things that have rising agents, and then you'd be good outside of that. So for certain understandings to be where you can't have no foods like. Honestly, seriously, are we talking scripture? Or are we talking about people's own opinion? Because the scripture ain't never say that. It said the Passover, the Seder meal, and then it talks about immediately after that the Feast of Unleavened Bread. The feast, and I'll say it again, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, where there should be no leaven anywhere in your house. It's supposed to be gone.
Good. And that, yeah, that feast. You know what I mean? I remember it's a feast. That party, that gathering, that get together.
Yeah.
I don't know how
So
many ways we could say
yeah,
it.
that's how I look at it. So according to the word. So if that's something that is a debatable topic, then yeah, we welcome it. Um,
Mhm.
let's not
Yes,
hold
sir.
let's not hold the people bondage. Passover is getting from bondage into freedom. Let's not hold the people bondage over things that we don't understand. It said feast. So I don't know about y'all, but I like me some baked chicken, and I needs to have that. I'm going to have that. So if you don't like that, or if you want to debate that after I eat it. Yeah, that's what it is. So, um, yeah, it's just it's not about anything, um, uh, you know, unrighteous. It's about not adding to the word. It's about understanding what the Passover was about and what the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which goes for those days after that. It's about understanding what those things are about. And so um, you got to understand the scripture when it talks about that. It's a feast for 8 days. So you might want to go back into if you don't understand that, you might want to go back into your scripture or give us a call. Reach out to us. We'll gladly go over it with you. Hey, because each one teach one. That's what the Mashiach dealt with when he was talking about the people. So each one teach one. We may know some things you might not know. You might know some things we might not know. but it does talk about the feast. It don't end there. You can go through the scripture where it talks about the Passover, and then immediately it goes into the Feast of Unleavened Bread. It don't end there. The Passover scriptures don't end at the Passover. That's got to tell you something. Got to tell you something. So, let's not be over righteous, man. Let's allow our people to understand the physical and the spiritual things about that, going from bondage to freedom. You know what I mean? Freedom that in the fact that the Most High got us out of that bondage, and freedom in the fact that the Mashiach was the one who sacrificed his blood so that we can come into those things, whether you believe or not. You know, we'd always like to debate, not to debate, but we'd always like to have a conversation about that as well. We love our brothers and sisters, whatever they believe, as long as they believe that they're Israel and have that understanding through the nationality. The scriptures talk about other sheep that are not of that flock, and so these things happen. But sticking to the Passover, and we're going to end on this. It's an important thing because it represents the transition from bondage to freedom. It represents from from death into life through the Mashiach Yahushua, who was the ultimate sacrifice. And that's why they don't understand that the only law that was done away with, and that's just for a time, was the sacrificial law. Because the Mashiach was the last sacrifice. He was the perfect sacrifice. Those other animal sacrifices, they were perfect in the sense that they had, did a goat ever rob a bank? They're innocent. They're innocent. Goats don't sin against the Most High. They can't. Animals don't sin against the Most High. They don't have the capacity to sin against the Most High. Our people do. That's why the Most High understood or allowed the sacrifices of animals, because it was either you or them. And that's why there was such reverence paid to that, because it was like, man, they ain't do nothing to the Most High. So there was such protocols that went with that. The Mashiach embodied that when he did that, because he was the perfect sacrifice, because he hadn't sinned against the Most High at all. Whether you believe it or not, we're willing to discuss that. So, but in the Passover, that's what these things are a foreshadow of.
And he was without blemish.
You understand? He was. So, let's end it here. What's Wonder One said? Unleavened recipe example. 1 cup of
Oh, thank you.
olive oil, salt optional. Mix needs slightly. Bake or fry directly. Okay. Yeah, I ain't gonna be doing no kneading though. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Well, yeah, there you go. There's a recipe if you wanted to make unleavened bread. So, hey, you know what? Look, it's out there. You just have to basically give a damn. Thou shalt not. You just have to give a damn.
Yeah. I just want to tell y'all, like, with the unleavened bread recipes, man, y'all can mix it up too, man. Y'all can add honey to it. Y'all can add little fruits and dates and nuts.
There's a lot you can do, because again, just like the Passover progressed, because in the early Passover there was no wine. So if that's the case, if we stick into the old thing, then nobody should have wine, drink the wine at the Passover. Should be none. But as it progressed and still stayed righteous, there are things that you can do that can stay righteous. Now, obviously, the Seder meal or the order got to be what it is. Lamb and bitter herbs. Got to be. That's no, look, there's no ambiguity there. It is what it is. It's got to be done the way the scripture says it's got to be done. But after that, the feast of unleavened bread, you can, sky's the limit. As long as you don't use leaven. Thou shalt not. That's it. There's no reason to make it complicated. If there's certain fruit that don't have leaven in it or yeast in it or whatever the case, I don't know, then you use that. The sister Wana just gave Wanda Wana just gave what was it? A
unleavened bread recipe.
Right, an unleavened bread recipe. You can use that. For those of you who bake like that. You know what I mean? You can Alpha Omega Clan, Chicago, Zeal 9336 says sauteed vegetables can be a good addition to the feast, separate to the Seder meal. Of course. But that's the point. You don't build or take away from the Seder meal. The Seder meal, the order, that has to be in the order it's supposed to be. The Seder meal, the order, that has to be what it is. All right? When you talk about the lamb and the bitter herbs, the rest of that, though, after that, as we know, starts the Feast of Unleavened Bread. The feast. I can't stress that enough. The feast. And as long as it don't have yeast in it, sauteed vegetables don't have yeast. You can saute all the day long. It doesn't have yeast. It's fine. You can have that. Prove that you can on the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And it's not even a feast for that same night. It goes on for quite a few nights.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just stop with the nonsense, man. Let's stop with the holier than thou, especially if you're wrong. Yeah, feast. Talking about macaroni and cheese and fried chicken, Wonder Wana said, look, if you can make macaroni and cheese without no yeast in it, and you can make baked chicken without no yeast in it, I'm with it. Or fried chicken without no yeast in it, I'm with it. Whatever. Look, it only said don't have yeast. If there are alternatives to that and I can still have the same type of foods, I'm in there like swimwear.
Like with your noodles, with your pasta, you gotta be careful. Make sure you get egg noodles. Make sure you get the egg noodles made with egg.
Well, look, whatever the hell you got to do, whatever you got to do, if it's egg noodles that don't have yeast in, whatever don't have yeast. This is where we got to start from. All this other stuff is just causing confusion. Start from the law, no yeast, and then branch out from there. Okay, what don't have yeast? What can I make that I don't have to put no yeast in? And then you go from there. I think we make things too difficult. What don't have yeast? Or what doesn't have yeast? Or if I want to make something and it has yeast, then I have to have an alternative if there is. And if there isn't, then I just don't make it. No matter where you go in the universe, 1 + 1 is always going to equal 2. It just is.
Unless you Terrence Howard.
Well, yeah, that's a little different. But he's not totally incorrect though.
No, I'm not saying he is, but
he's a little crazy. But if you understand certain things that he's talking about, he might be going a little off with it, but he ain't totally crazy. But anyway, let's see what we got. Can't have pasta, fried chicken, anything with leaven, either added or made from as a whole. Yeah, but if it ain't made, you can have it. Just ask. Okay, we saw that already. Everything except right. Eat everything except leaven. God damn it, you ain't never lie.
Good.
You ain't never lie. I'm gonna eat it. So if you want to take a video of me, you better come. I'm gonna have my garments on and everything. Tear that thing down. So if you want to take my video, just make sure you get my good side. Anyway, I think we're done. That's it. Yeah, listen, so we definitely appreciate all our people near and far tuning in with us tonight. It's always a blessing. It really is. It's always a blessing. We do what we do because the Most High woke us up to come back to His law, statutes, and commandments, and we definitely try to wake our people up to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. We do realize that there are times that we're not going to be perfect and we're not going to fall, but we never let go of the plow. You know what I mean? We keep that plow going, man. We keep it rolling, and we always strive to be better tomorrow than we were today. Our life, we have a saying, and Alpha Omega Clan, our life is good and it's only getting better. We believe that wholeheartedly because it is. And words have power. We spoke about that tonight on our conference call a little bit, and words do have power. And so when you look at the Passover, our people got out of that Passover because the Most High kept His promises. He's not a man that he should lie. He kept His promises, and He did what He said He was going to do. And so he got our people out of that, and our people weren't of the understanding of what He was really doing, and they didn't trust and believe in the things of that nature because they caused Moses a lot of problems, caused him to do certain things. But the Most High kept His promise. And so we have to, try to do the best that we can in keeping our promises to each other and first of all, to the Most High. And so celebrating this thing is a commemoration of our transition from being in bondage of all manner into freedom. People say, well, we got freedom in the Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Yeah, we do. But it's not about freedom about not keeping the law, because if that was the case, then I could sleep with a man's wife and it wouldn't be nothing against it, because there's no law if the laws are done away with. I can rob somebody and there'd be no penalty because there wouldn't be no law against it. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not murder. I can kill a dude for no reason, and there'd be no penalty if we had that freedom in the Mashiach Yahweh Shai, or Christ as they call him, where we don't have to keep the laws. So let's not be stupid about that. You still have to keep those laws. We're not saying the laws is going to justify you getting into heaven, but we are saying, because we know that all that comes from the Mashiach Yahweh Shai and the faith in the Mashiach Yahweh Shai. But what faith do you have in Him? To do what? To live how He lived. How did He live? He kept the laws. That's why the Most High said, "This is my son who I am well pleased," because He kept the laws. Scriptures tell us, man, if you say you love the Lord but you don't keep the commandments, you're a liar. So you can't have it both ways. So when we look at this Passover, let's think about it as our right now, our spiritual and soon to be physical exodus. Not only from this place, but spiritually in your mind. In your mind, the bondage that is plaguing you in your mind, be it money, be it women, be it men, be it porn, be it gang banging, be it any of those things. And we got brothers who went through that kind of stuff. and transform themselves. So be it anything, and you put that blood on your life and allow the Mashiach, allow the Most High rather, to pass over you. You have that prayer. You keep that faith. You keep them laws, statutes, and commandments. And so with that, I'm gonna say Passover. I wonder one said Passover in Raleigh, North Carolina, 2027. All right, all right.
Yeah,
Let's do. Let's do it.
I want to taste some of this best chicken on this side of the world.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love North Carolina. That ain't no that ain't no secret. So yeah, let's see how we can make that happen. If the Most High will, let's see how we can make that happen. Um, so yeah, we I know it went a little bit longer than we wanted to go, but we're gonna say, hey, on behalf of myself, Bon Oriar, and Sergeant Taziar, and Alpha Omega Clan, Ambassadors of Christ. We want to say Shalom, Ashar Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. And hey, we look forward to anyone that wants to come out to our Passover. It's going to be in the Bronx on April 1st at sundown. We're going to have a great time. If you can't make it out and it's live streamed, join in, man. It's okay. You can be there in spirit. We understand that. We believe that. We're going to have a wonderful time, man, because this is what the Most High allowed us to have, and you know, just come on out and enjoy yourselves, man. So we're gonna say shalom, and we're out.
Yeah, can I just add one more thing before we get up out of here, King? Yo, I just
Yeah,
want to say, you know how earlier how you read about the curses and stuff, the plagues. I mean the plagues. Oh, just remember that these plagues that he read about around this time, around the time of the first Passover, these plagues was going on around right now. Right now is when these plagues was being brought upon Egypt. About right now, they was probably losing their firstborns.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So that's something to think about. You know what I mean? We are actually living in a time like right now, these 10 days leading up to the Passover. We are in the times of the curses and
con,
of plagues. So that's
con,
why I just want to put out there, you know what I mean? Just think of, on a spiritual aspect. I mean, think about the time that we in right now as you are preparing for your Passover.
con. Issacharite Princess 3167. Sleep well, family. You too, sis. May the Most High bless and keep you until we meet or see you again. So we're gonna say shalom, and yeah, we'll see you, brothers and sisters, at the Passover. Most High will.